Welcome back, Heart of Life Coach Foundation fans, followers, friends, to another timely table talk here, hosted by Heart of Life Coach Foundation in the Hub Studios. I am thrilled to have a friend with me today. You're going to hear about him and everything that he's doing with his organization that he represents, which is the YMCA. Who doesn't know about the YMCA? Come on, and there's a whole song about it.
Whole dance, every wedding is that.
So he's going to be here and talk a little bit about the YMCA, which is going to be great. Let me say just a little bit about Heart of Life Coach Foundation briefly and the Timely Table Talks program. So at Heart of Life Coach Foundation, our mission statement, it's clear. We exist to provide and to help to create more safe spaces for ACEs impacted and justice impacted people. ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. It is a study that is researched. It goes all the way back into the 90s, and it proved and demonstrated that early adversity in childhood has an impact on how adults behave, how adults perceive the world. And we recognize that with the youth, adults, and families that we support, primarily coming out of incarceration, having issues with addiction or substance use, just that whole reentry recovery environment, ACEs are very prevalent in that population. But ACEs are common, period. Without going into the whole study, it does not discriminate. ACEs is not about a zip code or a race or an ethnic demographic. Adverse childhood experiences are very common, and we exist to provide safe spaces for ACEs impacted youth, adults, and family, and also justice impacted people. And so we do that through a variety of different programs. We are so thrilled about the Impossible Men Support Group that we've been doing since the beginning of this year. Going great. Had another group just this past Monday. We had 9 men in the room. You getting excited?
It's good stuff.
Jay's already he's excited. Thank you. We had 9 people in the group this past Monday, which was really awesome. We're averaging 6 to 10 people to come to the group every time. The time before the last one, we had 12. In our largest group, we had 21 people in that room. And so the community is responding to this opportunity for men to show up, be vulnerable, be transparent. And it is so rewarding and gratifying to receive the gratitude of those men as we explore conversations about mental health, medicine, mindset, mentality, money, motivation, masculinity. This past week, we talked about moms and maternity, and it was very, very rich. So we do the Impossible program. We have a crisis care program. We help provide financial relief. We have a youth mentorship program called the Change Program, and also Timely Table Talks while we're here. So Timely Table Talks is a new broadcast that we do weekly. We're actually going to be changing the cadence up in June and go bi-monthly, so it'll be twice a month, just like the Impossible program. It's just a decision that we made on behalf of the organization, really for my own well-being. I mean, there's a lot of work running a nonprofit organization as a founder, especially with as much passion and enthusiasm that I carry for the mission and the programs. And so through some consulting and counseling and coaching, in June, we're actually going to decrease the frequency and move it to bi-monthly, just like we have with the Impossible program. And then also in May, there's going to be a bit of a gap because I'm traveling to Florida to present at the All Rise Treatment Court Conference to 6,000 to 7,000 treatment court professionals about this very organization, its impact, and the importance of trauma-informed approaches and care when working with human beings. That's just so important to us, and super excited about that. So there'll be a little bit of a gap. Let's fire it up. So Timely Table Talks, what we do is we bring in service providers and organizations that help to provide what we call wraparound support for the people we get to service, because we realize that not one nonprofit organization is enough to really facilitate the full healing for some of the harm and hurt that have happened to so many people in this community. So when we can get organizations like we brought in the past, recovery-friendly organizations like Smart Recovery, we're looking forward to having Face It Together here soon, one of my favorite organizations, and I'm a member there. We've had the other organizations in here like Midwest Street Medicine. And today we're going to hear from James, the CEO at the YMCA, and we're going to hear a little bit about what they're doing. So we bring in those service organizations. We also bring in survivors to amplify their stories to combat stigma. And then we also bring in professionals to have an open discussion around topics that I believe that if we enhance these topics, James, we'll be more effective in working with the vulnerable. Leadership, communication, empathy and emotional intelligence, administration of justice, and trauma-informed care. How about that? Huh? Lots of fun. I'm gonna fire it up. So
Let's go.
yeah, here we go. So with that, you heard from me. You heard about Heart of Life Coach Foundation. We get to now hear a little bit about James Oppenheimer. Did I say that right?
Absolutely, just like the bomb.
Just like the bomb.
The bomb.
The bomb.
Yeah.
Love it. So he's gonna tell us a little bit about him, where he's from, how long he's been here in the community, and then his current role at the YMCA. So just thank you for being here, James. I'm glad
Thanks
you're
for
here.
having me, Terry. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and
Yeah.
an honor to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
The mission of Heart of Life Coach and Timely Table Talks is phenomenal, and I'm really excited to be here and honored that you have me on. And I think the YMCA is a great partner in this sort of in working with justice impacted, working with people that are trying to find their way in the community. So excited to talk a little more about that.
Love it.
I'm originally from London, England. That's where the funny accent comes from. Been in the US since 2000 and then been in Sioux Falls since 2008. Worked in the insurance industry for a long time. And then eventually moved into the nonprofit world through Dakota Alliance Soccer Club. I was the director of business operations there and a staff coach. Had some success coaching and really enjoyed moving the club forward, and found that what I was stronger at than coaching was leading nonprofits. Did a lot of good things at Dakota Alliance over the 7 years there. But again, leading nonprofits was great, and I looked to see what more I could do and how I could bring better value to Sioux Falls. And the Humane Society opened up, and so I was then the executive director of the Sioux Falls Area Humane Society for 2 years, or just under 2 years. Really helping bring families together. I did some helping kids individually at Dakota Alliance at the Humane Society with over 8,000 animals a year coming in, adopting out over 4,000. Really giving families their best friends, bringing people together, and helping provide therapy for a lot of people through animals, giving people literally their best friends, making life-changing things that change lives. It was wonderful for 2 years. Brought in the type of progressive leadership that I'd love to bring in organizations, valuing people. And then 7 months ago, got an opportunity at the Sioux Falls Family YMCA, an organization that's really part of the fabric of Sioux Falls. Been around for 140 years, been in our building for 120 years, and it truly sometimes feels like a 120-year-old building. Doing great things with a wonderful staff, trying to do good things for the community, providing a safe space and a great place for people to be. Our mission is to create strong kids, strong families, and strong communities with an emphasis on youth programming. And we make things affordable. The Y does a ton of different things. I can certainly go into some detail on those. I should also say, on a personal side, beautiful wife Marissa of just over 20 years, and 2 kids, Henry and Gemma, a cat named Gabby. Live in Central Sioux Falls, and really find Sioux Falls is a great place to raise a family.
Let me jump in there.
Place.
That's awesome. So we are going to dive into the YMCA's. He's passionate just like I am, and I can tell you about when James and I met and why we get along so well.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, you got 2 guys that care about people, care about values, care with a sincerity. And that's one thing I really respect about you and I admire about you, and it helps me to feel safe around you, is that I know that you are genuine with that care. And that's something that we really, really value, and we pride ourselves on at Heart of Life as well, is that we don't just say we care, we're going to show it and you're going to feel it. And that was exactly what happened when we met at Leadership Sioux Falls.
Leadership Sioux Falls class 35.
35, a
few years ago. Integrity and sincerity is so important in the community and amongst people.
You're right. Shouts out to my beautiful daughter, Leilani, 12 years old. She is an amazing student athlete at Memorial, and I love her, and then my 2 sons as well. So I appreciate that family focus. That's really good. So when we met, it was Leadership Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
For you.
Right after COVID.
right after COVID, and it was good. It was good. And leadership is, you said, you found that you were more either interested or more drawn to leading nonprofits than coaching. How about talking just a little bit before we get into the YMCA, a little bit about leadership? What's your philosophy on leadership?
Yeah.
What do you think about leadership? Why is it so important? What should we focus on? What are we thinking about as leaders, James?
It was interesting when I was coaching soccer, coaching teenage girls. When I moved from Dakota Alliance to the Humane Society, I thought it was going to be a lot of the leadership courses I'd gone through, like Leaders of Tomorrow and Leadership Sioux Falls. And really, it's advanced coaching. You're saying the same thing to people that you're saying to kids. But my leadership philosophy that I talk about, that I like, that I brought into organizations, I call it worked well at the Humane Society, it's PETS.
Okay.
Positive, efficient, transparent, servant leadership.
Nice.
And I found that has worked incredibly well in the nonprofit space. Positivity, especially in nonprofits. None of us are in nonprofits because we want to make $1 million. You don't tend to do that in a nonprofit organization.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
But you're there because you want to be there. So being positive about it and being excited to be there is huge. Efficiency is trying not to waste money or time. Being transparent and integrity is part of that, is telling people what's going on, not hiding things. That's a huge part of leadership. If everyone feels like they're part of what is happening, and especially bringing people in and making them feel part of the solution, is just gets buy-in from more people. It makes people feel good.
That's really good.
And servant leadership is what it is. It's you're leading up. You want to make sure as a leader that those that work with you know that you are there to support them rather than they're there to support you.
That's really good, James.
And that's my personal leadership philosophy.
Yeah.
And it works for me within the nonprofit space. It works within the community. You can be a leader in your community without having the title, without being a CEO or a founder. Anyone could be a leader. You can lead up if you act like a leader, if you act like someone that will take the lead, that will actually be outgoing, speak to people, talk to people on the streets.
Nice.
Things change quickly.
So when you came up with the PETS acronym, was that while within the umbrella of Humane Society, or that was something you already had with you before that?
It was something I had with me. I think it was STEP initially.
Okay.
And then I switched, then I got to Somewhere Where There Were Animals. And so switched it over to
Same
PETS.
letters are there.
Exactly.
Okay, that's really good.
But it's good to have, good to have an acronym and have something that I've stood by, and I then have people yell it back at me once in a while.
That's my favorite thing, actually. Whenever I'm doing coaching or leadership training, when someone says to me what I've said to them, I love a dose of my own medicine. I love a good dose of my own medicine. It's a compliment and it's helpful.
Yes.
When they do that. The thing I like about your PETS or your steps here is transparency. I love it all. But that transparency piece really speaks to one of the pillars of trauma-informed care. So in trauma-informed care, there's 6 pillars. Safety is the foundation. I've already heard you say safe place and safe space, YMCA, right? Great place. We have safety in our mission statement as well. And those who know that safety is the foundation of trauma-informed care. And then there's layers to that safety, not just the physical safety, but their emotional safety, their psychological safety, their intellectual safety, and there's a few others. But trust and transparency is one of the pillars. Being able to not hide your hand when you're working with trauma-impacted people. They already have a history of going through so much, betrayal or manipulation and surprises. Even for me today, being a trauma-impacted adult, I don't do really well with surprises. And I let my friends and families and people in my life know that, please be upfront with me. Please let me know if you're coming over. Just give me a heads up, because I don't really do well with surprises based on some of the experiences I've had as a youth, where it was like, oh, surprise, and someone was hurt or killed, sadly, from my childhood experiences. And so transparency really gives me a sense of safety, gives me that buy-in that you're describing. And anytime we're working with trauma-impacted youth or adults, transparency is one of the 6 pillars, and leaders should be adopting more transparency in their style.
Absolutely.
So well done with that. I also love what you said too about the servant leader.
It's a cliche, but it's a true cliche.
Yeah.
Something you are supported. It's key. I mean, I have people that report to me that I work with, and I consistently say, I am here for you. I'm here to support you.
Yeah.
And that's the case for anyone leading people. But again, it's not about position. You can be a servant leader anywhere.
Yeah. So the concept I like to, teach on when it comes to leadership in that same vein is something where I let people know, do you know that leaders follow? Leaders,
That's a good way of putting it.
Follow. And it seems that it's like so counter to what the identity or the perception of what a leader is or what a leader does, that a leader goes first or a leader is out front or a leader initiates. But a very exceptional leader also knows that they are a follower and they follow. And every good leader has another leader that they're following. And as a leader, you should be alluding to that with the people who are following you. Because in my opinion, when I consult on this, I know leadership is influence, but I truly believe there's a step before that. Leadership begins with example. And if you are, as a leader, wanting, expecting, or needing people to follow you, then what is your example? Are you following anyone to example what their behavior should look like towards you? And that servant leadership allows you to step into that where I'm here to provide support. So you're exempling what support looks like, thereby truly now being what I would call an exceptional leader.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Trust is a key part of it, leading by example. People want to be heard. And half the time, at least in a corporate world, or a non-profit world, I have someone who comes and asks a question, and you ask the question back of, well, what would you do? And 9 times out of 10, they know the answer. Just need someone to give that support.
That's so good. All right, before we get into the YMCA, I asked James to kind of volley with me a little bit because part of the Timely Table Talks is I want to bring in competent leaders. If there's someone who I sense has a high leadership IQ, I want to open up to the broadcast because we have people listening to this broadcast that there are people who are in need of services like the YMCA and some of the other places we brought in. Looking forward to Feeding South Dakota next week. Megan, that shouts out to you. She's coming here, my friend from Leadership South Dakota. But also we just have people who are aspirational and they got hopes and dreams and goals. And if we can help to build up their mindset and skill set through an open dialogue discussion, I want to do that with people with high leadership IQ. You're one of those people.
Oh, thanks.
So shake my hand on that, my friend. So we talked a little bit about leadership. Another thing I like to open up is empathy and emotional intelligence. And I know for me, when I was introduced to the word empathy, it was later in life, sadly. I had not got introduced to the word empathy until I was over 3 decades old. I was about 31 years old when I first heard about the word empathy and tried to put it into practice. So now over the last 9 years, it's perennial to what I believe healthy relationships look like, and empathy in all things. Empathetic bridge building is one of the perennial things we talk about at Heart of Life as well. But I'm curious to your thoughts about empathy, the power of empathy, and tell us a little bit about when you learned it or how you use it, or why is it important that we're empathetic as leaders?
Empathy is so important. I think of how often I do it more at work than I do at home, which I should ask the question more at home, just how are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's amazing when you ask that to anyone, that if they trust you, they will open up and tell you this is going on or that is going on. But the empathy is there and I laugh because I think my wife taught me this about 20 years ago.
Good.
When I'm telling you what's going on, I just want you to hear me and say, yeah, that stinks.
Yeah.
And not try to solve my problem.
Yeah.
And listen to what people say and make a comment on it that actually shows that you're listening. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Or wow, rather than give immediate advice or solve a problem. You're empathizing with the person.
Yeah.
And that helps build trust. We
Yes.
talked about trust as an example.
Yes.
And like I said, I do it more at work than I do at home. I probably should do it more at home.
You
with my
will do
kids
it
and
for more at home now.
I know
from
my
henceforward.
family is watching this.
Yes.
So I'm saying, yeah, absolutely right. You're not going to do it. At
I'll
home.
be checking on you about that too. I got you guys' back.
But yeah, that to me is key. It's that empathetic listening, that active listening that you make a comment after that shows you're actually listening. You empathize and you understand what someone's going through. And that's all we really want, is someone else to understand and listen to us.
Well, I'm going to add to
the workplace and at home. Yeah, I'm sure that in trauma impacted circumstances, that's going to be a huge part of
100%. Well, the thing is this. So I'm going to add to it by saying, when I'm also coaching, there's active listening and then there's empathetic listening. And empathetic listening is having the ability to identify the emotion that you hear them feeling while they're expressing the words they're saying. So an active listener will just reflect back what I heard you say was. An empathetic listener will be able to say, wow, I can really tell that you're frustrated. And when you're accurate with your ability to identify emotions, which is a part of emotional intelligence, right? The other part of that, empathy and emotional intelligence, you're able to accurately identify that. Wow. I mean, you talk about trust. Yeah, the trust and the safety that opens up. And in my opinion, James, that's where human connection happens, is in the emotional state, right? I mean, there's the head and then there's the heart and then there's the body, right? But when you connect empathetically, when you connect with the emotion, that's the human connection. And then when we can have leaders that are willing to go there, asking how people feel, willing to hold the space in that. One thing that came to my mind is the concept of feel it or fix it. And a lot of times, and I'll just kind of say this, not with too much bias showing, but men like to fix things. They kind of just, you hear something and you want to fix it. And if you just take a step back and as you're listening to someone who's venting to you or sharing with you, ask them, do you want me to feel it or do you want me to fix it? So you don't get it wrong, right? So you're not trying to fix it when they just need you to feel it. Or so you're not trying to feel it when they really want you to fix it.
Well, the instinct is always solve the problem. So you want to fix. Like someone tells me something that's going on, I want to be like, hey, this is the way to solve it. But that's not always what people are looking for.
Yeah. So you just ask them, you want me to feel it or you want me to fix it? And then when you feel with people, you connect with the human. And to your point, when we're working with trauma impacted people, when they have felt so much neglect, which is the number one reported form of child maltreatment, when they feel invisible, our vision statement is to create a world where every person is seen, supported, and empowered. You see people when you connect with them empathetically.
Sure.
Isn't that pretty good?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, we love it. All right, thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. We're opening up discussions on leadership and empathy and emotional intelligence. Look forward to other conversations with other leaders about, trauma-informed care, the administration of justice, and effective communication. So keep a lookout for other people. I'll pick their brains. All right, so YMCA.
YMCA. Love. I brought when I showed up there, I made the suggestion to the staff that we do that at the beginning and the end of every day. And it was wholly rejected.
Still working on them?
Still working on them. One day. I do wake up to that in the morning though.
Oh, that's funny.
Drives my wife insane.
So the YMCA, to your point, I think I wrote down a note. You said 104 years here.
140 years.
40 years.
20 years
in the building. So not 104, 140. But YMCA, I mean, it is as classic as the sun rising in so many communities.
Been around, it's from Britain originally. Been around for a long, long time. Basketball was invented there, which is pretty cool. Naismith was asked to find a sport between football and baseball season and invented basketball at the Y.
In Britain?
Not in Britain. That was over here somewhere.
Okay.
But
cool.
Yeah, been a huge part of this community.
And many communities. That's my point.
Well,
Omaha, YMCA.
Well, the Omaha Y is enormous, and it's just about to build a big new project.
I grew up there, bro. Butler Gas YMCA, man, right on Ames Avenue in Omaha, Nebraska. So many coaches, so many experiences, so many just ways to stay out of trouble. The YMCA saves lives, man. You haven't heard my Y story, but I have you here with personal admiration for the YMCA impact in Omaha, and I just want to shout that out. That it's not just a Sioux Falls thing.
No.
YMCA's are everywhere.
It's nationwide. I believe there's 2,000 of them nationwide.
Nice.
Yeah, Rebecca Dettering and her staff in Omaha are doing an amazing job. That's a big Y, number of locations.
Yeah.
The Sioux Falls Y is a little different to most. So people think of the Y as gym, swim, guys in steam rooms, different things like that.
Okay.
And that's the old philosophy of what the YMCA is. Our Y is a little different. We don't have the pool anymore. A lot of people ask about that. We are one of the few YMCAs without a swimming pool. We filled it in.
Okay.
But the YMCA here has 4 main programs. Like I said, our mission is strong kids, strong families, and strong communities. With the emphasis on youth programming.
Love that.
So the 4 main programs actually fit into the YMCA. I'm going to just keep doing this. The Y is youth sports. Anyone that's played basketball in Sioux Falls at some point has played Y basketball.
That's right.
All the way from the little hoopsters at the age of 4 all the way up to high Y, which is high school YMCA basketball for kids that don't play on their high school teams.
Yeah.
We also have lacrosse, which is really fast growing. Starting lacrosse 6s this year, which is 6-a-side lacrosse going across a field, and that's going to be in the Olympics next year. So we're expecting it to explode.
I love it.
All of these are very affordable, and we offer, and this is a big part of the Y. It's a rec sports organization where you can, it's cheap to do it anyway, but there are scholarships. We try and remove that financial barrier, and that's where a lot of our donors come in to help keep things super affordable.
Love that.
We also have a small flag football program, and then we've just started YMCA boxing in partnership with Vargas Boxing. We have two rings that have been put up.
You're an athlete. You're a former athlete, aren't you?
A long time ago. But
it's just, I can see it's just you're moving the body.
But yeah, we've got 2 great rings that they put up, and we've started a boxing program if you want to swing by and punch someone. Well, we have cardio boxing, and then we have the fight team, which is actually truly, they're going to be traveling and competing. Okay. Then membership is what the YMCA classically is. We have racquetball courts, a basketball court, a gym, beautiful changing rooms.
Yes, they are beautiful.
Very affordable.
Comfortable couch in there, TV.
Yeah.
The NBA basketball game is on. It's playoff time right now.
It's right across from my office. I enjoy sitting down there and chilling and watching some TV.
Nice.
C is Camp Leaf Erickson, which is a significant part of Sioux Falls. 3,000 kids a year from all the way up at 4 up to 15. We have the paddles and the Oli horns and best 2 weeks of summer. Horses just went back out to Leaf Erickson. We're actually investing about 150 grand into the site this year.
Nice.
To really improve it. Registration's open. We come pick your kids up, take them right there. And again, it's multiple tiers of pricing. They go from 400 to 200, but then we also have for 2 weeks. But we also have different scholarships. Promising Futures partner with us to scholarship a lot of kids.
Great organization.
And that's really a central part of Sioux Falls. We're right in the middle of town. And then after school care is the other part of the Y is not really that known for. We provide after school programming in 7 elementary schools, 5 in Sioux Falls, as well as in Hartford and Baltic.
Nice.
And that's a huge part of what we do. We took a bunch of our after school care kids. We partnered recently with the Professional Bull Riding Association.
What are you guys up
to Pettigrew Elementary School and a bullfighter or bull rider. And then we brought kids to the show and they got to go watch it. We were recognized. We won their B Cowboy Award. And
that's good.
It was a huge partnership. So the Y is doing good things. We're continuing to grow, but we really are about providing a place to be. Yeah. The other thing that I didn't mention is we are partners in 5 low-income housing developments, including the one in our facility.
Nice.
And that's such a huge part. It's even in the song that anyway, it's a place to be, a place to go.
Yeah.
But that's such a huge bonus for the community. Homelessness, housing, people being unhoused is a huge issue, and the fact that we can work to help put our name towards it and help provide low-income housing, partnering with Lloyd companies, and Craig Lloyd was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
That's a big part of our mission too.
James, I'm sure as people are listening to you share about this whole umbrella that is the YMCA, I'm sure there's so many adults
Yes.
that have gratitude in their hearts, because somewhere along their journey, the YMCA was a part of their lived experience too, especially those that are born and bred right here in Sioux Falls. The number of times I've heard stories about people participating in YMCA basketball, or even the times where I've come and volunteered there and see all the youth there and the after school programs and the amazing staff that you have helping to do all of that. I just know I got a deep sense that there's a lot of people who have a gratitude in their heart for everything that the YMCA is doing. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of them and me. It's just super cool. So my daughter did Y ball. I was a volunteer.
Did you coach her?
Yeah, I was a volunteer YMCA basketball coach for 3 seasons.
Awesome.
And it was awesome. And it was safe. It was friendly. It was competitive, but they had the accommodations where it wasn't like overly competitive.
Yeah.
So very developmental.
Which is the idea.
Yeah.
You want to get into full competitive, there's places for that.
Yeah.
But what we really are a recreational organization where you can coach your kid.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have to be the greatest player in the world. I'm sure she was.
She was really good. But that's what I enjoyed, though. Like being an athlete myself that was very high performing, and then
former national champion.
Got me.
Hurdles. 400 hurdles, right?
Yeah, national champion hurdle. He called it out. You guys knew that already. Hurdle life. So as its All-American national champion hurdler, and then retiring from the sport with my college graduation, I look back on sports and I realized that it was truly about character. I realized it was not about how fast I ran those races. It wasn't about the wins and losses. It was about the wins and lessons. And the fact that I got to be a volunteer coach in a developmental league where it was less about the points that were being scored and whether somebody was traveling or not or double dribbling and they're 4 years old, 5 years old. It was about creating an environment where you could teach teamwork, where you can teach, selflessness by passing the ball, and where you could help people grow in their confidence. I loved that about volunteering at the YMCA.
I think youth activities, we provide a lot at the Y. The schools provide a lot of free activities to youth, like middle school soccer has just started up. It's getting bigger in middle schools. You obviously have it in high schools, but from the arts, band, I have a kid in band, to sports, I think that is a huge part of development for kids. And just that the teamwork, the adversity you face, providing a safe environment for kids to be kids in and to play in while helping teach them lessons. That's a great backdrop for kids. Great way to bring kids up. And Sioux Falls provides that. The Y provides some great stuff.
And like you said, there's other options out there. There's other leagues, and my daughter's involved with the Avera Select League now, and did some stuff with South Dakota Junior Football Association and things. I volunteer with our FCA. We've got a flag football league as well. But sport is such a good buffer.
Yes.
Right. So even as we kind of talk about, you said after school care is in here, I'm very involved in keeping pace and keeping pulse with what the community needs in regards to our youth and our vulnerable adults. And you are as well. And we know that there are so many kids that go unsupervised right after school because of they're from single parent homes or just other different conditions outside of their control, where even my mom, she worked 2 jobs, and that was what she needed to do in order to pay the bills. And so I was one of those unsupervised kids in Omaha, Nebraska, and we have a lot of that happening here in Sioux Falls. But doors and places like the YMCA is open for them to come there and be off the streets, not causing trouble. And so that really hits home for me, James.
Yeah, well, it's great. And what the Y has been doing, and then what the city has worked with the YMCA, as well as some of our other nonprofit agencies, VOA and Boys and Girls Club and MB, to provide a after-school programming for all the elementary schools in Sioux Falls. Now moving into the middle schools, the Y currently provides some, Boys and Girls Club provides some, and then there's other agencies being involved. But I love that our city is starting to invest in that and realize the problem of kids being on their own, especially at influential ages after school. So I hope that we continue to invest in that. The Y is doing everything we can to keep kids in positive, to give kids somewhere to be,
Yeah.
somewhere to go, and a positive influence. Our staff's phenomenal, but I do want to shout out, there's so many good organizations out there that do this.
Good call out on that. You know, you said something earlier too. You're talking about sports. I talked about character and development.
Yeah.
You brought up adversity. Very good to bring that up. And for some reason, I'm thinking about the adversity that happened at Leif Erikson. Right? Didn't you guys have a little bit of a natural disaster or something?
We had some water.
And you know, I just think that, you know, with this opportunity, I want you to take this opportunity to talk about the value of Leif Erikson, right? Maybe some wins and just why it's important to help revitalize and rehab that place, but also maybe share that some people may not even know the hurdle that you guys are facing, and maybe, I don't know if you cleared it yet, but I want you to share.
Well, so a lot of this is before my time, but Leif Erikson is in a flood zone and it's in a floodplain. And we got 200-year floods in 5 years, which doesn't, the math seems, we feel like it's the most flood-proof place ever now, because if you have 200-year floods in 5 years, then the hope is we're going to have another one for 100 years, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of water, and again, this was before my time. The staff and volunteers did a phenomenal job cleaning it up and getting camp going within a week or two. They put a plea out to the community. Caden Whitman, and development director, did a wonderful job getting things out to the community. I believe raised over 200 grand to get money back or to get things going again.
Yeah.
But we're still recovering from that. We had to move horses out and bring them back in. We had to do a number of different things. We put $150,000 into improving camp this coming year. And that's fixing fences, things that have been, that were destroyed in the camp, getting just stuff that you wouldn't even think about. Like we were flooded out, but our outpost was completely destroyed. That was one of the bigger climbing areas there. So having to rebuild that, our ropes course suddenly was not up to par because of some of the damage, having to get that recertified. But Leif Erikson is the best 2 weeks of summer for a kid.
I heard that.
We accommodate 3,000 kids a year, 700 each, up to 700 each session.
Wow.
And the best thing about it, I used to love it because it was 2 weeks break from daycare during the summer. You put your kid on the bus at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. They're on there with a bunch of other kids singing songs. They go to Leif Erikson. Their counselor has a great time with them. They do things from riding horses to kayaking, to multiple different climbing activities. They can get to learn some lacrosse at some point in time. We feed them lunch. They do some great afternoon activities. They go to Wild Water West at some point in time as well. And then we bring them back home. They're exhausted at the end of the day at 5:30. You clean them up, let them sleep, and throw them back in the bus the next day, and away they go. And we have an overnight for certain ages once during that 2 weeks. So kids stay overnight in the yurts of the camp and get to enjoy the rural downtown Sioux Falls. I should say rural downtown. We have 50 acres of land right off 26th Street, but it's right in the center of town. And that's what's unique about it is it's 10 minutes away. You don't have to worry about sending your kid out to camp. And if there's an issue, they're an hour or two away. They're 10 minutes away. So you can feel safe that if something happens, like if there's a flood, you can be right there. But it's the biggest part of the YMCA.
Wow.
We're slowly investing more into it. There may be some big announcements coming up in the next year in how we're going to try and, it's been around for 100 years. We're going to try and make sure it's around for another 100 years. But Leif Erikson's, it's the heart of Sioux Falls.
I love it. Yeah, right on 26th Street and 229. Right there on the, that would be the southeast
side of town.
Southeast of that corner. I just mean
just past Cliff Avenue Greenhouse.
Just past Cliff Avenue Greenhouse.
And you'll see the horses just came back. We got the horses back this last few days. So.
The horses back. And so I really wanted to just lift that up because, maybe there's families and maybe there's people who hasn't gone there yet. And we're going to talk a little bit about membership and make sure people know that these things are accessible. And that financial hurdle that is a barrier for a lot of, low income working families who want and desire and yearn to have positive activities for their kids, but just don't have the discretionary income to make that happen. YMCA is family friendly in that way. I know I've benefited from it personally years ago. I need to renew my membership. We're going to get that back popping. But I know when I just started kind of in my own reentry journey, I'm 9 years down the road now, and I was rebuilding my life with my mentor. And my mentor pointed me towards the YMCA and says, Terry, there's a place that's affordable. You can get that exercise. It'll be good for your mental health. And he was right. And I really enjoyed the way I was accommodated and treated with dignity. I just can't recommend it enough, not only for just the experience of these activities, like the sports, like Leif Erikson and those other things, but also the accessibility and the accommodation for membership.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you had such a good experience.
I sure
with
did.
Y. It really is something that anyone can do. Talk about Leif Erikson.
Yeah.
The full price is over $400 for 2 weeks. However, there's 3 tiers, and then we have a very significant scholarship fund.
Nice.
That if someone comes to us and says, I want my kid to come to Leif Erikson, but you know what, I can't afford this. Can you help me out? We have like I said, a significant fund. That's where our fundraising goes.
Nice.
Is to make sure that we can get it to an affordable level for people. So if you are thinking about sending your kid to Leif Erikson and money is an issue, call the YMCA, come reach out to us, and we'll find a way to make it work. I mean, our true goal is to remove that financial barrier for any of our programs.
That's so encouraging and refreshing. I just love it. And then you just membership period, right? Leif Erikson, but then just YMCA membership, and you get access to all the gyms and
we have a gym. We partner with MB for their pool. That's a different tier of memberships. There's different memberships.
Is Great Life a part of the partnership?
No, not anymore. They have cut back on some of their outer programming. But we were very fortunate that the gym equipment we have was donated to us by Great Life.
Thank you, Great Life.
After they cut their programming, they left the gym stuff with us. We maintain it. It's in really good shape.
Yeah.
But we're about to add some extra classes in the mornings and mornings and lunch times and some evening stuff.
Nice.
Racquetball, basketball. Just come shoot some hoops at some point in time.
Challenge me, come and get beat.
Yeah.
I'm really
absolutely.
good at basketball.
Practice your dunking. But there's a lot to do at the Y, and like you said, it's a very affordable place to come, and it's a very welcoming, friendly. We have a great front office staff that will welcome you in.
Sure will.
And some good stuff going on.
Yeah, so we've covered a lot of ground. We're going to talk a little bit about the low-income housing piece a little bit, some ideas that we have for partnership at Hurdle Life, which would be cool. But just one more shout out to 50 acres at Leif Erikson there. And can you share those numbers again of how many youth are already going through there? I think you said 700?
It's 700 at a time. We get to over 3,000 this summer.
Wow.
We're at 2,500 right now for this summer. We expect to hit 3,200. There are plenty of openings left, but 700 kids at any one time can be out there.
When is that 2-week period?
Where it starts, the first session is the beginning of June,
Nice.
and we have 10 sets of 2 weeks. So it goes to
10 sets of 2 weeks?
No, I'm going to get killed if I get this wrong. Let me see.
But there's
you have 10
multiple-
weeks, 5 sessions. Let me get that right. 5 sessions. So 10 weeks total.
Okay.
5 sessions, 2 weeks. So the first one's beginning of June, then it goes through June, July, August.
Yeah.
And then actually after we are done, the following week, we have 2 activities after. One is Big Vikes Camp, which is for grown-ups to come out and enjoy.
What's that called?
Big Vikes Camp. That's a fundraiser that the Y has.
Okay.
But the other thing we're doing is Give Kids the Woods, and this is brand new this year.
This is a great show.
It is a program.
People are commenting. Leif Erikson is amazing. My new friend,
That's
Marty
great to hear.
Mueller. Love it.
Awesome.
Hearts and all that stuff. This is good.
That's great.
Yeah, it is.
Give Kids the Woods is a new camp we're doing this year. It's an adaptive camp for children with physical and mental disabilities.
Thank you for that.
We're partnering with a number of different organizations. It's free for anyone that wants to join it. We're about half full on it. We're doing 2 sessions. It's a 2-day camp. We're doing a morning and an afternoon. But we're trying to find new ways to utilize Leif Erikson. We have it year round. And so we use it for those 10 weeks of summer, but how else can we use it? And this was one thing that came to us. And I think it's, again, great to be able to appeal to, our camp is not the most ADA accessible. This is a great way for children with disabilities to be able to be part of it. And so we're hoping it's first time this year, but we're hoping that this becomes a much bigger deal.
You're doing a great job, James.
I'm lucky to have a great staff.
Yeah.
And great people around me, and a lot of people that are passionate about the why.
Yeah, I can feel it coming
They're
through.
the ones that are doing this. I get to be at the front and announcing it all.
Yeah.
Talked about being humble. This is not me pushing this. I'm privileged to be the leader of this organization, but it's got so much passion, some great donors, and some great staff. People want to see this stuff succeed.
We love the YMCA. Who doesn't love the YMCA? And you're right. Shouts out to the staff, the boards and donors, and just you're doing an amazing job as a spokesperson and just sharing this information. This is the goal of Timely Table Talks. People have a perception of what they think something is, and what we want to do is bring in credible messengers who are living the reality of what you have a perception about and give you an accurate picture in the most insightful way. I got fired up because I really believe in credible messengers. Good. I'll tell you what, whenever we're dealing with any type of issues that we're trying to solve or we're trying to fix as a community, I'm going to open it up for a second because we're here to share what we do too, crime. I wonder who would be a really good advocate or a partner in helping people to understand how to reduce crime. People who've committed crime before. Credible messengers. People with lived experiences need to be at the table helping our communities tackle solutions, create solutions, provide mentorship, provide coaching to reduce the problems we want to see less of. You want to see less homelessness? Is there a person with a history of homelessness on your advisory council? You want to tackle issues around panhandling? Have you consulted with anyone who's actually lived that out? Or are we just coming from a place of an opinion or a perception? And I'm just putting it out there. I'm just asking questions. I'm not here for right and wrong. I'm here for insight. I'm here for identifying gaps, and mature leaders can accept accountability, humbly thank the insightfulness of whoever is providing it, and then take action on that. And I'm just getting fired up because you're living the YMCA, so we're getting an insight, but it reminds me of how much we care about crime prevention at Her Life Coach Foundation, how much we care about safe families at Her Life Coach Foundation, how we are ready and willing with credible messengers beyond just me. We were talking right before this program. There's a handful or two handfuls of people that are eager with their formerly incarcerated experiences, their issues with substance use and addiction, that want to pay it forward into this community. And we are just only one phone call or one email away to help our community with crime prevention and public safety through mentorship, through coaching, and through education. And so with that, talk about low-income housing and some of the people you're helping in that environment. I'm sure you see some of those similar backgrounds and demographics. And so just talk a little bit about the affordable housing, what you see there, and what type of value comes from the YMCA providing that support.
Yeah, absolutely. The affordable housing was something that was brought to us, I believe, in 2013, 2014.
Okay.
As the Y was looking for a way to utilize our building and get more impact within the community. And we have a great partner in Lloyd Companies who came to us with a plan and an idea to get affordable housing credits. And initially it was convert half of our building into affordable housing, which is what has happened. That was the first one. And it's, we are the general partner. Lloyd are the managing partner. There's some investors that have got this going for us. We're at over a 90% occupancy in all 5 buildings.
5 buildings,
potentially looking at a 6th.
Love it.
the building itself, on our side, it's something that is a better use of our space, financially works for the YMCA. But the Y has been known, it used to be a hostel. It's places where you could come, and if you had nowhere to go, you could be and you could get a bed and things like that.
Okay.
We can't do that anymore. But what we can do is provide places for people to live.
Yeah.
And with the unhoused population growing in Sioux Falls, to be able to provide something affordable is great. We have units from small one-bedroom apartments up to one of the old basketball courts I was telling you before is converted into a 4-bedroom apartment.
Nice.
On 2 levels, and it's under the Affordable Housing Act, or you need the credit, you need to be in that income bracket, and is compared to what you could pay for downtown Sioux Falls, it's incredibly affordable. But we have at that unit, we have the YMCA housing, and then right across the streets there's some affordable housing that we share a parking lot with, that we have at Irving Apartments. Then one on the east side and a couple on the west side. It's just a way, like I said, it's over about 100 units, about 20-ish units per building. And it's going to be affordable for, I believe, 40 years. We're tied into that commitment, which is also great. So you're not going to get kicked out when credits run out and people need it. But when people need somewhere to go. And we've seen some good success stories. So affordable housing, also, if you're part of it, you get a free membership to the Y.
Oh, love that.
So, and we're right next door.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of people come in and that's a chance to, again, if you're in a situation, being having somewhere to work out, being physically fit, having a place that helps you mentally and helps you physically. So we're proud to be able to provide that alongside the actual housing itself.
That's so good. What an amazing breadth of programs and services at the YMCA, including affordable housing. I think about when we're working with men and women in reentry and the early reentry barriers. Right on top of that,
to live is number one.
Employment, then come housing, transportation, basic hygiene, basic needs, food, gas, utilities, all these things that help to set a foundation of stability for that person in reentry and recovery. And so really being more aware of that affordable option from YMCA. So thankful to other organizations I'm thinking about now, our partners who I'm going to bring in here. I'm a member of the board of directors at the Community Outreach Center right now, and we do a lot of utility assistance there and rental assistance there. Center for Hope is going to be coming in here to talk about their bike ministry and some of the things that they do as well around helping to create stability. I was just outside of the Union Gospel Mission today, providing mentorship to one of our people we support and talking with them about the food box giveaway program that they have there. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Any person with a food deficit, you can go right down to Union Gospel Mission, grab your box of food. Share that word with your affordable housing residents in case they don't know. And there's dignity there. There's dignity there, and there's a blessing there. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And when we humble ourselves, because there's so many people, James, no matter what your faith background is and whether you do or don't, there's people, they're wishing, they're praying, they're hoping for miracles. And miracles show up through people. Miracles show up through people, through organizations, nonprofit organizations that exist not to make money, but to help people. And when these people in need can step into your humility, what I was given in Revelation is on the other side of humility is exactly what you've been praying for, exactly you've been wishing for, exactly you've been hoping for. So if people can move their pride and embarrassment out the way, step into humility, you can go down to Union Gospel Mission Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 4 o'clock, go get you a food box. There's bread, there's all type of stuff, there's meats and everything. And so I just say all that to say, we all work together in this community to create this fabric, this ecosystem of support for vulnerable youth, vulnerable adults, and vulnerable families. And we are going to continue to do this at Her to Life Coach Foundation. We're coming up on 5 years.
That's awesome.
As an organization. High five. Give me some. We're coming up on 5 years as an organization. So in June We will be having a celebration. Location to be determined, but likely Swamp Daddy's Cajun Kitchen is where we're already talking about that, bringing our energy down there to Swamp Daddy's on June 18th for our 5-year celebration. Well, we have 7 different programs under our umbrella right now, doing mentorship, doing coaching, providing financial rescue and relief for people who need basic hygiene. They just got out. They're trying to restart their lives. And through donations to Her to Life Coach Foundation, we're able to show up for those adults and purchase those things from them, from the Walmarts and the Lewis Drugs. And it's not just about the material things, because we're in the car with those individuals. We have this windshield time, and we're always providing compassion and coaching with the participants. We go with them. We don't just hand them a voucher or give them money. We go with them. It's really lockstep mentorship that we get to do at Her to Life through our crisis care program. And so I'm really looking forward to learning more about the affordable housing and the families that are over there. When we had our coffee about a month ago, that's really where we resonated. It was like, families, huh? I think there's something we can do there. We really believe at Her to Life, whole person, whole family support. And so just looking forward to seeing what that might look like, James.
Yeah, I know. We could do some good things. We had some good conversations. Let's see if we can figure something out.
Yeah. All those units, all those families, community rooms. The idea and the hope is to partner with the YMCA for the Impossible program. It's going so good. I'm not overstating this. If anybody wants to, first of all, pop by and check it out if you're male, 18 years or older. First and third Mondays at Windy City Bites, 6 o'clock. Food provided. First 30 minutes, food is provided by Windy City Bites, and then we have an open discussion around a topic that starts with the letter M. And these topics are so rich and helpful. We talk a mindset. What are you thinking about? Mentality, motivation, money, right? Come on, that's a big one. That's a good one for people trying to rebuild their lives or establish a foundation. We're talking mentorship and masterminds. That was another really good one. And as we are doing this program and getting all the gratitude from people, we see there's an opportunity to partner with other organizations, other spaces, other places where we can bring in the same type of open discussion format and be a gift and a blessing to those individuals too. So I'm hoping for a partnership with McCrosson's Boys Ranch and want to do something with their young adults out there. I'm believing in a partnership with YMCA and their families, wanting to do something with the teens, potentially with boys. And our fingers are crossed for the grants that we have out there right now too. So I say all that to say, we're sharing the space here. 2 leaders of nonprofit organizations doing good work with their programs, and James shared a bunch of good news about the YMCA. And you may not work there, you may not be utilizing the services, but you also have the opportunity to just be a donor, right?
Always.
And we want to be clear about that.
Yes.
I'm bringing the nonprofits. We're not going to sit here and just think we're here just to talk about it. We hope that this inspires people to want to give somehow, some way, as a volunteer, as a donor, or something, whether it's YMCA or Her to Life Coach Foundation.
Absolutely, and donations can come in any shape or form. Like you said, the money that the Y takes in is what keeps us affordable. But if you don't have, and I've been in that situation where, hey, I want to help, I want to donate, but maybe a donation of time is just as important as a donation of money.
Nice.
If you have time to give, you want to come and be a volunteer at the Y, at Her to Life Coach, at any of the great nonprofits in town, just come and volunteer. That is so important to every nonprofit.
Yes.
And that is as valuable. And I think people don't realize that as much as say, well, I don't have millions of dollars. I can't give thousands and thousands to you. Yeah, but you can give us some of your time. Or spread the word. Tell people about us. That stuff is vital to our survival. And like you said, nonprofits partnering. We partner with a bunch of organizations. I know you do with Her to Life too. As nonprofits work together, that's when the real magic can happen.
I love it. Shouts out to our brand new volunteer, started today, Brianna. She's been watching the episodes every week. She's already shared it. She's excited. We're excited. So like you said, that donation of time means so much to nonprofit leaders that give so much to these organizations. And especially as a founder, a lot of it is donated time. And so being able to have other people come alongside and match that passion Really means a lot. Any final word from you? We're at 8 o'clock. Any final word for the peeps?
I just appreciate. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything you do for the community, for justice impacted, for trauma impacted, addiction impacted. I've seen you do some amazing things.
Yeah.
So it's an honor to share a screen with you.
Yeah.
And be able to talk about the why. If you'd like to sign your kids up for Camp Leaf Erickson, if you'd like to donate, just go to Sioux Falls YMCA.org.
Love
That's the easiest place to find us.
Love it.
And I really appreciate you having me on, and thank you so much. It's been great.
Real life, baby. YMCA.
Great stuff.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. All right. Peace out. We'll see you next week with Feeding South Dakota. Megan, that's you. Holla.